Welcome everyone to the Tonkin Legal Group, home of the Australian Family Law Podcast. Definitely not the official podcast of the AFL, the Australian Football League. I'm your host, Joe, joined with St John and Charlie, and today we honour the life and career of a great man who gave it his all into. No, I'm probably too solemn, way too solemn. Welcome everyone to episode 11 of the podcast. I sprung that on you guys, didn't I?
You
Yeah,
did.
that's not fair. I sort of who passed away? Crikey.
Yeah, you're just reading out a eulogy there, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, just purely off the top of my head. I thought, look at this. This is rare for all three of us to be dressed in white, pure attire, and obviously the big breaking news from this morning that Michael Voss has resigned, and geez, it's an overwhelming sense of positivity out of the Carlton families today.
Oh well, at least he finishes on a relatively high because they did all right on the weekend. But poor old Vossi, I'll say it again. I love the bloke, I love the footballer, but maybe he can't coach.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I did think the same thing. I thought it was strange that it's come on the back of they had a pretty good performance against Brisbane, the two-time reigning premiers, but maybe that was part of the thinking to kind of finish up on a bit of a high in a season full of lows for the Blue Baggers.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I every time I hear someone resign in this position, it's almost like, well, they were sort of pushed, but
yeah,
let's soften the blow a little bit by giving you the opportunity to say you resigned. Anyway, who's the fill-in, Joe?
A very good question. I've just been absolutely inundated. I had
Josh Fraser.
not had the chance to have a look. Fraser, is it?
Former Collingwood and Gold Coast champion ruckman Josh Fraser.
Champion. Well, you throw that word around loosely, Charlie. Well, as we all know, new coach, caretaker coach, there's always a little bit of a bump in form and success. So who's playing Carlton this week, poor buggers?
Your mob, St John, the Doggies.
Oh, I thought hang on, my mob.
Your second mob. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, whereabouts? So probably at that horrible Disneyland
Marvelous
Stadium down somewhere.
Yeah, Marvelous Stadium.
Dimmer's favourite.
The boondocks of Melbourne. I tell you, that's
Yeah.
an austere, cold place, that one.
Yeah, you won't see me there.
I don't care if I never go there again, to be honest.
I don't think we'll see you anytime, Charlie. You're always on the slope with your cheese board, mate. You Melbourne.
Yeah, and the Range Rover.
Yeah, I know. I ironically had the option to attend Marvel on Sunday in Medallion Club, and I knocked it back because I didn't want to go.
Yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work, isn't it? Yeah.
Spoken like a true Melbourne supporter.
Well, what about your mob, Joe? The Bombers put up a pretty good performance on the weekend.
Yeah, a couple of honourable losses on this side of the ledger here between St John and my boys. A couple of, going down swinging, some opportunities gone begging. We unfortunately had the lead by 26 points and coughed it up. So not quite the same as the Tigers, who were the ones mounting the comeback. But look, I mean, you just take it. It's not a very great team, is it? It's a bottom four side for a reason, and just got to keep looking at the little wins along the way. Sally Roby, what a star!
Yeah, gee, that was quick. Being named the rising star. What, 2 games, 3 games?
I think this was his 5th game. Yeah.
5th. Okay. Yeah, should have taken him, but we didn't.
Too early to tell, really.
Oh yes, if we could get one of our young players onto the park, it'd be nice. Anyway, so how do we draw a connection between Mr. Voss and what we do for a living, and that is advise people about family law matters? Now, he's had a separation from his club. He's decided to up and leave, and we're often faced with that situation with our clients. But where to next? Where does a family law client go when they separate? Joe, what are the methods of, or some of the methods of resolution that a client can use in a family law separation process?
Well, it depends ultimately on whether it is in relation to parenting or if it's in relation to property.
Mm,
Could very well be both. If you have
mm,
neither of those things and you're only married and your only recourse is the divorce, well, that has its own standalone thing as well. So it really depends on your situation and whether or not, as we've mentioned in previous episodes, whether there are any allegations of family violence which could get in the way of potential discussions and negotiations because it creates a
mm,
power imbalance between the two, and it's becomes really unfair. You can't expect someone who is a victim of family violence to be able to properly and robustly negotiate and stand up for their
mm,
rights, really, to obtain their just and equitable outcome. So there are a number of different ways to be able to achieve such a thing, and we're going to be going through a number of them today, right, Charlie?
mm,
Yeah, exactly. And like you raised then, Joe, I think it ultimately it depends on the nature of the relationship or the separation. And if it's relatively amicable and there aren't any allegations of family violence, or there's no power imbalance, then I think a direct discussion between the parties is always a starting point. It's cheap, it's straightforward. There's no legal representation involved, and the best agreements
mm,
are the ones the parties can come to on their own. So in that situation, I think, yeah, a sit down kitchen table discussion, in the absence of any of those risk factors, is
mm,
a fairly reasonable place to start. Um, and then, any agreement that can be reached at a informal kitchen table discussion between the parties can then be reviewed at a later point by lawyers if needed and actually formalized. So that's a
mm.
starting point. And then St. John, I guess if that's not appropriate, what would be your next point
Mm.
of call for the
I,
client?
I, it's a great start, as you say, if the parties are right. I think doing this for a long time, I've had two clients who could come to their own arrangements around a kitchen table because generally a separation's quite raw, emotions are running high. There's usually one reluctant person in the separation, so they might be really angry. So sometimes a kitchen table isn't appropriate, as you said, Charlie, kitchen table discussion. But I often say to clients, well, is there a third party that you might be able to engage, a family member or a friend that you both respect? And that person can act as a bit of an umpire in that type of discussion. So that's another way of looking at it. But again, it's really up to the parties. And with the level of family violence that we have in our cases at the moment, those friendly chats around the kitchen table when everybody wants to leap over the kitchen table and throttle each other, not always suitable.
Yeah, exactly. And in those, especially in those types of situations, trying to merge situations and circumstances into the one word there, you can attend upon someone else, a different type of service that can facilitate a type of mediation or family dispute resolution, as the court likes to call it. Just keep it simple, stupid. A mediation, and you can do it with someone like a government supported body such as Relationships Australia. There is, of course, a bit of a waiting list whenever you're using any government subsidized service. There's always a bit of a wait list there, but
Mm,
it's quite cost effective and quite cheap. And there is an intake session where these people, they're not lawyers themselves. They won't be able to tell you whether or not the agreement that you're reaching is a good one for you. Their job is purely just to try and get the two of you, whether it be in the same room or in a shuttle. Most likely it would be in separate locations, and the mediator will be running in between each of your locations to try and get you to meet somewhere in the middle, reach an outcome, and from there you can then take that to your family lawyer to give you advice as to whether or not this is indeed a good deal for you.
Mm,
And like you said, Joe, there can be a bit of a waiting time to get into some of those government-funded mediation or family dispute resolution services. So you can always look elsewhere. There are numerous private mediators available who can get you in a little bit quicker than perhaps some of these government-funded services may be able to. Obviously, it's going to come at a fee, but it might be a faster solution depending on the backlog.
I think also that mediation process, if you've got children of a certain age, generally a little older, you can also engage in child inclusive mediation. And that doesn't mean the child sits in the room with mum and dad and the mediator, but the mediator meets with the children first and then meets with mum and dad and feeds back to the mediator, sorry, to the parents, the general views of the children. So it gives the children a voice. Relationships Australia run child inclusive mediation. And that's always a good option if the children's age group is such. Generally, we're looking at 12 and up, maybe 10 and up in that sort of model. But and Relationships Australia also run a lawyer-assisted mediation model, so you can drag your lawyers along and engage with the mediator there and see if you can resolve your issues. So that's a fairly cost-effective way.
I was gonna make a joke there. You were saying 12 up, 10 up, and what about 7 up? No, okay, no, it's probably better. No, that's
6, 7, Joe. Yeah. So at the end of the day, that's not a bad way of looking at it. I think most, I'm speaking for myself, but most of the files that I'm engaged with, we tend to have some active negotiations, and we advocate for our client. We put their position, their proposals, and we negotiate with their other partner or their other partner's lawyer. And that in itself, negotiation is a method of resolution when you separate.
Exactly right. And it could very well be that in our negotiations that it seems that, you know what, let's just set a date where we can really hash this out and get into the nitty gritty and have someone who is, I suppose, really professional and has that accreditation and to be a mediator, and could very well be that it is barrister led. A lot of these barristers who you find in courts, a lot of them tend to also have an ability to be, they are registered mediators as well, and they're really good at what they do. You can imagine they're used to prosecuting cases and they're used to having that keen eye for detail. You can imagine what someone of that ilk can do when it comes to really cutting through and reality testing parties' positions, to really cut through and give them a wide open view as to, look, if you proceed with this and you don't settle, it's likely that this is what's going to happen in court. So having someone like a barrister lead a mediation, of course, with your family lawyer there to help guide you through it, is certainly also a very powerful tool that does not require you to be in court. You can engage a barrister if you, of course, are represented by a family law solicitor. You can have a barrister-led mediation without it being in court at that particular point in time.
And you did mention the C word there, Joe, being court. Obviously, the court is a way of resolving your family law settlement as well. We generally use that as our last resort, don't we, guys? But there are some cases where the parties can't resolve their own dispute, applying mediation, negotiation, family dispute resolution, etc. And some matters need or have to be resolved by the court. Unfortunately, with the court, you lose control of your outcome. So you put you put your matter in the hands of a third party, being a judge, and then they make a decision whether you like it or not.
Exactly right. But I guess the court's there as a forum to try and break any deadlock in negotiation. So if for whatever reason you're at an impasse and you can't reach any compromise with the other side, then court's always there as that last case resort. And it doesn't mean that you're prevented from continuing to negotiate with the other side or proposing a mediation. Those options are always still available, and it just means that if you continue to hit a wall in those negotiations, well, at least you've got a court date on the horizon to progress with.
and focus everyone's attention. I think, Joe, you were motioning that court's a very expensive pastime. It really is. It's extremely expensive because you're generally paying lawyers hourly rates, and it can drag out unnecessarily. So, court, if you are in that position, we can certainly advise you of the pitfalls.
Absolutely. And when we like to, there is winning and then there's winning. You can win on paper and get a really good outcome for yourself, or you can win in terms of the practical side of things. We will always do our best to give you really clear and I suppose realistic outcomes whereby we're offsetting the potential outcome that you can reach in court, but of course you're paying for it with legal fees. So it could very well be that the offer or the advice that we give you is in fact a financially sound one. It's an economic decision to resolve the matter, whereby on a particular day you might not achieve as much as you might have desired to do so. But even if your wishing list was to be answered and you had your 3 wishes and the genie, after you robbed it and you got all that you asked for on your day in court, you are paying for it through your legal fees as well. So it's really important that we do have that cost analysis, cost benefit analysis, and when we will definitely be giving you that advice.
Yeah, it's about making sometimes commercial decisions, not emotional decisions. But that's what we're here for, to hold your hand and guide you through the process. I hope someone's holding Vossi's hand as we speak. And I hope he has a life after coaching, because I like listening to the guy, and I think he's got a great footy knowledge, footy brain. So let's hope he pops up on one of the footy shows, or at least as a commentator or special comments.
I reckon he could be a good cop. He's really good at doing arrests. Didn't he do a citizen's arrest the other day?
Yeah,
that's
he did.
right. Yeah,
he did. Yeah.
R.I.P. Boston.
Yeah, well, Brad, be careful, Brad. Voss is gone. There's only one guy left.
Do you reckon it's the domino effect, you think? Yeah.
Well, I suppose now that Carlton have let go of Voss, they have, I suppose, the free reign. No, we say Carlton let go of him. Did Voss step away himself? Regardless of what actually happened behind the scenes, Carlton now are without a coach, a head coach, and so they have carte blanche now to be able to communicate and court whoever it is that they want. And there are quite a few options out there on the market from a previous coach perspective, and of course, there's always the untried that Charlie, you and I have spoken about. Who do you reckon, Charlie, they should go for?
I've been hearing Hayden Skipworth's name a lot. He's at Collingwood, and I think he's up there with those senior untried assistant coaches, highly regarded at Collingwood, and hurts me to say, but he's coming from a very good system over there. So he'd be one, and then there's a number of others, but yeah, I'd be looking at the club they're coming from and how long they've served as an assistant for. So maybe the Blues have got in early, and they could see possibly the writing on the wall at Essendon as well, and they want to get a head start on the hunt for a replacement.
Well, someone's going to get swallowed up by Tassie, and Hinkley looks like he's the next candidate for that role. But then Jamie Graham, apparently, the Freo assistant coach, in but rumours around who Carlton are looking for, or looking at. Who knows? As a Richmond supporter, who cares?
All we care about is dream time, or should I say spoon time, at the G in a couple of weeks' time. We hope that you guys look forward to watching. Spoon. Yes, battle for the spoon, and we hope that you guys look forward to these episodes coming out every week, and that you enjoy listening to them half as much as we enjoy recording them. Thank you once again for your company. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to not miss out on any of the videos that we constantly release. And if you are listening to us on Spotify, please rate us 5 stars. Will greatly help our outreach so that we can continue to push to the masses, to the general footy fan base in Australia what it is, what family law is all about, distilling it and really demystifying it in simple terms. St. John and Charlie, thank you once again, as always, for your very precious time.
Thank you, gents.
Thanks, guys, and thinking of you, Vossi.
I'm loving Big Boston's